light in the sky, rising in the air. There's a feeling so strong. It's time to light the fire, like a bright shining light. Love, getting more out of life. Love, sharing time with friends, feeling so strong.
Hello, I'm Luke Darcy, and this is the House of Wellness.
And I'm Jo Stanley, and I'm very happy to be here with you, Darcy. And can I just say how much I am loving football this year? I mean, it felt like we were a bit ripped off last year because we didn't have much footy, so I am in footy heaven right now.
When you said we, I thought you were about to say we were ripped off Collingwood. You always feel like we're ripped off when you're a Collingwood
I'm not that kind of Collingwood supporter. No, I'm very fair-minded. I think that the umpires are very fair when they umpire against us.
Umpire against us. That's not how it works, Jake.
Okay.
They umpire the game. It has been great. I've really enjoyed it. It's been great to see crowds back and people wearing their colours again and back at the footy. So I've loved every bit of that.
Plus, we've just got through the school holidays here in Victoria, and what a different vibe they were this year. Now we're back to normal.
Well, today it's all about kids, Jo, with some footy thrown in as well. And recently we spoke to Nicole Reinhardt, a professor of psychology who gave us some incredible insight into autism. She's very active in helping these kids and has partnered with the AFL to start a footy program for kids with disabilities called All Play.
It's all about breaking down the barriers so kids of all abilities get to have a go. And with dance as well, Nicole's also got the Queensland Ballet on board, and kids have already been performing with some of the company's elite dancers. She's created what we call an equal playing field,
Yes, I love it. And while we're talking play, Jo, we've got a playground innovator coming in later who designed playgrounds all around the world.
And celebrity parents Miranda Kerr and Jules Sebastian are here to share what they feed their kids.
Interesting to hear what they have to say, Jo. I'm looking forward to that. But let's kick things off with my first love, footy. The AFL season is now well underway, and terms 2 and 3 means the start of school football, which is where many football careers begin, just like AFL star Adam Treloar.
Adam began his junior footy career playing for Melbourne's Noble Park before graduating to the Major League with GWS when he was just 17 and went on to earn an AFL Rising Star nomination in his debut season.
He played for Collingwood for 4 years but was recently caught up in a heavily publicised trade to my club, Jo, the Western Bulldogs. It was a high-profile exit from Collingwood and a stressful time for Adam. His partner, star netballer Kim Revellion, was relocating to Queensland with their baby at the same time to play for the Firebirds. So it's been a bit of a rollercoaster for Adam, and I caught up with him to see how he was going and to reflect on the last couple of months.
This would be some goal. Decides to give it to Treloar. 45. He had the fist up before it even made the goal now.
You're home alone at the moment, mate, because your beautiful wife, Kim, and your little daughter are up in Queensland. So you've got the house to yourself. How are you going on your own?
Yeah, it was obviously something that was in the works for a bit, so I was able to get my head around it, you know, probably the back half of last year, knowing that I was pretty much going to be here kind of by myself. But thankfully, Kim's twin sister, so my sister-in-law Jess, she chose to, you know, stay in Melbourne and live with me and really help me out and support me. So for that, I'll forever be grateful. She's been a huge support.
Enderbury, well done to Treloar. Treloar bursts his way through and then kicks a beauty.
I heard you once tell the story that your mum wouldn't drive the car midweek, so you had enough petrol to drive you to a game on the weekends.
Yeah, plenty of times.
You used to sleep, you know, in the same bed as your brother, or you're in the hallway at one stage in the house because there just wasn't the space. I mean, that's not the sort of upbringing many people have, is it? Has it shaped you?
No. Well and truly, mate. It is what motivates me. You know, remember those times where, you know, we sometimes used to have to shop at the Salvation Army and the Red Cross, and that's where you don't actually pay for groceries. They give it to you because you don't have any money. And, you know, I look forward to talking to my mum because pretty much every time I talk to her, which is every 2 or 3 days, she starts crying because she just talks about how proud of me she is. And, gets me touched.
Yeah. You know, what does she think when she sees you out there doing what you do? What does she say to you?
Oh, sometimes, she doesn't come to the games much because...
Why is that? I find that extraordinary, mate. You've got the pride that she's got in you. Is it too overwhelming for her to...
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I can... I'm never afraid to show my emotions. And I get that from my mum. My mum cries at the drop of a hat, and I think that's the main reason why she doesn't come. So I'm happy for her to sit at home and watch, because I know she's watching and I know she's extremely proud. But I just think about the times when I've really struggled in my life. There's been a number of times, and, you know, the most recent time was obviously the whole trade period, and, you know, there was times there where I kind of lost my own self-belief. I doubted myself as a person, and my ability just to be a human being and my ability to play football. Sorry for crying.
No, mate, not at all.
And I think about what really got me through that time was thinking about my upbringing, thinking about why I play footy, thinking about, you know, what's my purpose, why am I here, how much have I invested into football. It's given me so much, football. It's given me everything that I have now. I would never have had anything like this. It's given me a great family. I met my beautiful partner through playing football, my daughter, all my best friends. Yeah, I think they really helped me through that period where I was really struggling. And yeah, I didn't want to get upset, but it's really hard because that's what
But
I
I think it's great, Adam, that you are so open as you are, and you know, people watch footy players and they think he's this, tough, resilient, alpha male. You know, he's earning great money, he's playing the MCG, but when you get traded from a club and it's public and that sense of rejection, everyone's felt that before, but I suppose you allow other people to understand that's tough. And I think, for me, I just think it's an incredible example that you set for others to be able to show your emotions. I grew up in an era where males just didn't show their emotions, and for you to be so comfortable with, to me, is as strong as you can be.
Well, for me, it's easy because it's just me being me. I'm as authentic as I am right now, and whenever I think about, stuff that's really affected me, I get extremely emotional because it's just the way it is. And, I think about that period. I think about that time where was probably the most recent time where I faced a lot of adversity, which was obviously going through that trade period, and then the prospect of playing for a new footy club where I was so comfortable at playing for Collingwood really, really scared me, and it was very daunting for me because, my partner and Georgie were leaving to go to Queensland, so I was by myself. I was, I get very anxious and I guess scared to meet new people because it is scary. It's daunting coming to a new footy club, and when all that was going down, my mum, my partner Kim, my daughter, who's my whole world, my sister-in-law Jess, all my close friends who I don't need to name, they were all there for me during that time, and that's all I cared about. It's all I cared about. And I remember the first couple of weeks I was there, I was still so lost. I just didn't know what I was doing. I just felt so out of place. And then my new best friend, who's just, I'm so forever grateful for, Josh Dunkley, who really took me under his wing, and he just made me feel a part of it from the get-go. And he'll never fully understand how thankful I am and how grateful I am for him being able to do that, considering his own challenges that he had during that period. So naming those people, I tell them every day how thankful I am and how grateful I am for just being there for me and supporting me.
Adam also opened up about his battle with mental health, so stick around for part 2 of that interview a bit later on in the show.
From the playing field to the playground, up next we meet the Aussie innovator whose designs are bringing joy to kids around the world.
Welcome back. One of the many things shut down during the pandemic were kids' playgrounds, Joe. Thankfully, they're back in business again now, but things sure have changed a bit since we were kids.
Oh, gone are the metal slides that burnt our backsides, remember that? And there was the frightening rusty seesaws and the whizzy-dizzy rides, so dangerous. But playgrounds of the 21st century are truly mind-blowing. Check out this one in Austria, built by Swarovski Crystals. It has a 4-storey tower with slides, a trampoline and an incredible view.
I remember the one at my school, Joe, had a flying fox that was about 20 metres high. Everyone broke their arm at some stage on that one. Probably a bit smarter and a bit safer now. But how about this one in Wales, Joe? They've converted an old slate mine into an underground playground with giant trampolines and slides.
Playgrounds are so important for kids' development. They teach them how to take risks, plus help their physical and social skills. Now, one Aussie entrepreneur is brightening the lives of millions of kids the world over with his colourful and bold designs.
I think we often completely underestimate the power of play for children, particularly in terms of well-being. What children do in play is they learn to regulate their emotions, and they learn the social skills and other things that keep them calm. They learn how to share, and they get a lot of strokes from their friends in that process.
Marcus Veerman was always a big kid at heart, but it was an opportunity overseas that saw playgrounds become his passion.
My wife had a volunteer position in Thailand, and I left a great job over here to follow her, and really just started saying yes to different projects that I saw, and the one that stuck was play. So we were based in Thailand on the Thai-Myanmar border, and there are millions of refugees across that border, and basically we built one playground, and the word just spread from there to the point where we were building a new custom playground every 2 weeks along that border, and we ended up building for about 40 schools. And we basically made a commitment to build a playground using only the local people and the local tools and materials that we could find in that region.
But that was just the start. Marcus had a much bigger vision. What better way to reach as many communities as possible than online?
What Playground Ideas is all about is getting communities anywhere to create play for children. So we offer all the manuals and tools for anyone anywhere to get local tools, materials and resources together to create a great stimulating play space.
With over 150 free, step-by-step, language-free designs, there's a playground to suit all kinds of kids in all kinds of places.
So over the last decade, we estimate that we've had about 4,500 communities in 143 countries use our resources, and we estimate that that's impacted about 2 to 2.5 million children.
They are very happy, they are playing safely.
We took the global safety standards, and then we boiled that down into a manual in a cartoon form with almost no language, so you can just absorb, you know, how big does a head hole need to be so that you don't get a strangulation hazard or a pinching hazard on a finger and those kinds of things, so that people can use these local materials but actually get it right to the standards, because a lot of those countries, they don't have any safety standards at all. It's a game changer for communities. Most communities that we build in, they don't have any playgrounds at all. So it becomes a central focus for the community, which I think is something that's really makes a difference.
And with a commitment to use whatever resources are available, no two playgrounds are the same.
You know, we've built cubby houses out of concrete water tank rings that you can kind of build up and cap off and then cut windows and holes in. Obviously local timber, local chain and steel, but also, I mean, we would have used hundreds of thousands of tyres recycled all, and you can get them in basically any country for almost nothing or nothing. Just behind me, the car tyre sphere was something we developed really early, which is just a favourite because it's super fun. I love the way it moves, but it's also, it can cost almost nothing. You know, you get about 25 bolts and it's done. Another favourite is our 4-way seesaw, which is 4 seesaws put together. And I just love the dynamics of when kids run around it, it has this kind of cause and effect motion of when the kids are skipping around, how they all affect each other. But it turns a seesaw, which would normally be a sort of a 2-person activity, into an activity where you can have lots of group rules begin and other things. It's really exciting. I mean, that play drive precedes us as humans. Those same very, very deep drives are within all children. You see them posting small objects into a hole or stacking things. All of those things are similar because it's all about children understanding about the way the world works. And so I think we've carried that through as we've migrated and evolved around the world.
welcome back. You're either a seafood person or not, Darcy, and I have to say I'm very suspicious of a lot of seafood. How do you go with it?
Well, I think maybe the most courageous person was the first person who ate an oyster. I think the person who opened that and thought, I'll give that a go. Now, I like seafood, I like oysters, but I understand why people get a little bit squeamish sometimes about seafood.
Yeah, I think there is some seafood that's, you know, tuna and flake and lobster, all for that. But I don't like peeling a prawn. I don't like having the messiness, and oysters. I don't understand oysters. What is that? I don't get it. But interesting thing, Darcy, a study done in 2019 by the seafood industry found that while most Aussie households eat seafood regularly, our confidence about buying and cooking it is pretty low. And I would definitely put myself in that basket.
Melbourne foodie Sally Fenton inherited her love of seafood from her dad, who was a scallop fisherman, Joe, and she says something similar to you. She's teamed up with Hinesy to take the mystery out of making the most out of shellfish.
Sally, I recently wrote a barbecue book, so every time my family come over, the pressure is on for me to crack out the tongs and cook something up, but I always lean into the sausages, the burgers. Why don't I go for seafood?
Seafood is actually really easy to cook. I suppose there's a little bit of prep involved, but there's nothing to be scared about when it comes to cooking seafood. You don't need to do much to it in order for it to taste great.
Do you think people are nervous to give seafood a crack?
I think so, because obviously if it isn't cooked properly at times or isn't prepared properly, it's easy to ruin. I suppose it's just not being familiar with the ingredient.
So, speaking of familiar with ingredients, I've got some prawns, you've got some scallops. What are we doing?
Today we're going to do some scallops wrapped in prosciutto, which is a very simple, quick and easy dish to do and super tasty and quite healthy.
It sounds fancier than it is. I love it. And I'm going to do just a really basic prawn on a skewer for those who think the prosciutto might be a little bit too fancy. What do you reckon?
Sounds great.
So, Sally, how do we know if our seafood is fresh?
It's a very simple technique. If it doesn't smell of the sea, steer clear of it.
What if it smells really fishy, though?
If you've just purchased it, return it or you throw it out.
Good to know. Extra fishy, get it in the bin.
Yep.
Sally, tell me, where did your love of cooking begin?
My love of cooking came from my father. My father was a scallop fisherman for 40 years, and so Dad would come home and he'd have this bucket of bits that was just random bits of...
What's a bucket of bits?
Bucket of bits. That was what Dad called it. It would have some scallops in it, some mussels, maybe a flathead, just bits that had come up in the dredge. And what we would do is we would lay down newspaper on the island bench and he'd tip out this bucket and we would prep seafood. He'd teach me how to fillet fish, prep shellfish, teach me about using all of it and respecting the ingredient. And we would quite often go from prepping seafood to baking a cheesecake in the same sitting. So we did lots of things. We got to talk about our days, and it was just a really cool bonding experience. So I did get my love of food from him.
Now, is that what the scallop looks like when you're getting it? Or is it in a shell? Do you keep the roe on? What do we do?
Well, look, it depends where you're buying them from. Most people sell them like this. So they're already out of the shell, they're cleaned up and they're ready to use. When I buy them like this, I will still wash them and pat them dry. A lot of people here actually take the roe off. I've been brought up with eating the roe and the scallop, so I'm going to actually use the whole scallop today.
Sal, I've got to say, everyone's got their own method of peeling prawns, whether you keep the head on or head off. What's your verdict?
Head off.
OK, head off. Now, with the poop chute, it's a bit controversial with how you handle the poo. So what I sometimes do is I locate it and, in an ideal world, it will just give.
Yep.
But worst case scenario, what's your go-to?
Another way of doing it is you can actually just get a knife and you run down very gently down the spine of the prawn. When you open that up, you can find and you can locate it quite easily, and then you can remove it.
Sally, these are looking fantastic. What's next?
So we're just simply going to, with the prosciutto and the scallops, we're just going to place them gently on this non-stick pan.
Yep.
No oil needed in this case for these. And then we just do a couple of minutes on each side until the scallop is no longer transparent.
What about the prawns?
So the prawns are just simply, we're going to put a little bit of olive oil on them and we're going to put them on the griddle plate as well, and just a couple of minutes on each side. And that's it, Hinesy. Just finish it off with a squeeze of lemon.
You make it look so easy. There's no excuse for you guys not to include seafood into your lives more. OK, I'm going to go for one of yours.
Got one of yours.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome back. As you know, Joe, just finished doing 11 years of breakfast radio, something you know very well,
Yes.
which meant I haven't been there in the mornings for a long period of time. Now that I am seeing the amount of effort and love and passion that goes into the kids' lunchboxes. Beck, she deserves a statue built at our house for the amount of work. How hard is that?
Oh, it is painful, it's repetitive, it's boring. Lunchboxes bring a huge dilemma. I'm lucky I only have one child, so only one lunchbox to fill, and she's a creature of habit. So it's a Vegemite sandwich every single day of her life. It's great. But the school tuck shop, you know, these days they're really good, Dars. Gone are the sugar-coated donuts and bags of chips that we used to have, and they turn out amazing meals, but obviously you can't outlay every day for a tuck shop meal. So it really is about scouring the internet, asking everybody you know what they put in their kids' lunchbox. Then you've also got to think about what you're not allowed to put in, because, of course, there's nut allergies.
Yes.
And now I was told the other day we're not allowed buckwheat. I don't know why. And now a fruit fly outbreak in South Australia means fruit has been banned for the rest of this year in many areas of that state. It's very hard.
Kids would have been celebrating that, the fruit ban in the lunchbox for some. But most of the young guys I'm dealing with are hungry all the time. They're eating huge amounts of food. And as they get bigger, one small lunchbox doesn't cut it for a 15-year-old boy. They cannot stop eating.
I can only imagine. And the worst is when you find it in the school bag a week later. Have you found that? With the fruit all mushy at the bottom. It is absolutely disgusting. Worse still, after coming up with what you think is an amazing lunch that you go, geez, I would eat that every day of the week, it comes home completely untouched. I mean, it's heartbreaking. Anyway, a few weeks ago, Guy and Jules Sebastian shared their insight into giving their kids a healthy start in life. And now Jules is back with some tips, new ones, I hope, on how she makes their kids' lunchboxes truly sing.
I'm here in Jules Sebastian's house and we're going to make a delicious lunchbox for your kids. But before we get started, tell me a little bit about your food philosophy for your two gorgeous kids, Hudson and Archie.
Well, I think for me, it's all about balance. I'm not totally going to deprive them of a treat every now and again.
That is good.
I like to pack the lunchbox, though, with good stuff. So lots of fruit and veggies, protein, bit of dairy, and fingers crossed that they actually eat it and it comes home empty.
Oh, here's my other assistant.
Hey, what are you guys doing? The wind was crazy out there today.
Where have you been? I wonder where.
I've earned
Spot of golf.
There are so many parents out there who have fussy eaters. What advice would you give them?
I think just go with what they like and run with it. And then we also try and experiment with other foods that they don't really like and just say, OK, let's try this. At least try it. Take 2 mouthfuls or 3 mouthfuls. It's all about habit and routine, I think, when it comes to encouraging your kids to eat healthy. We are big on vitamins in the morning. So once we come downstairs for breakfast, it's breakfast. And then they are, Mum, we need my vitamins for the day. So they love it.
So, Jules, with the Nature's Way Kids Smart range, what are your boys' favourite products?
They really like all of them. But the ones that I really like to see them have is the vitamin C. The probiotics, and they love those because a little bit of a chocolate ball there.
Who doesn't?
And the immune defence as well. To me, that's sort of peace of mind. They've had a good solid breakfast, a good, dose of their vitamins, and then off we go for our day. Make sure we get lots of activity and the healthy lunchbox as well.
So that's great for the kids, but what about you, Darcy? I know that you're celiac, so lunchtimes, are they more challenging, do you think?
Not too limiting these days, Joe. I'm reasonably flexible. My favourite day is on the set of the House of Wellness, where I've eaten the same lunch every day for the last 2.5 years, Joe, which is something I look forward to every time we're here with you.
It's delicious,
It
though.
is, it's great, it's fantastic. Little veggie burger, bit of rice.
It's great. We're always being told to eat fruit and vegetables, but the latest study from the American Heart Foundation goes one step further. They've reported that 5 servings a day of fruit and veggies, so that's 2 serves of fruit and 3 serves of vegetables a day, is recognised as the optimal amount and combination for a good, healthy life. So there you go. No need to bombard your system with anything more than that, Darcy. You're sorted.
That makes sense to me. I always get a bit concerned when you hear a study and someone says, you know, eating 15 slices of bacon a day has been proven to be OK for you, because I suspect that's not the case.
Says that?
Well, there's always an obscure study that we, you know, sometimes doesn't make sense.
Might have come from the pork industry.
Probably. Eating more healthy fruit and vegetables
Yes.
in that amount, that you can't go wrong.
Absolutely. Here's another powerhouse when it comes to healthy food choices. Capsicum. So full of vitamin C.
Underrated, the capsicum.
Absolutely love it. Hines is coming up next with his version of a capsicum dip, which I'm looking forward to. I really love the yellow ones.
The yellow ones?
Well, they're a little bit
Got a
unusual.
problem with the red ones?
Well, they all taste great.
Welcome back to the House of Wellness kitchen, where we're not just about delicious recipes that are good for you, we're about beauty here too, which is why my sous chef today is beauty expert Ross Andrew Arthur. Welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here and I can't wait to see what beauty-loving dish you create today.
All right, because we're talking all things beauty, I thought I would do my roasted red capsicum dip. So while I whip this up, can you tell me a little bit about your experience in the beauty biz?
Oh, Luke, it's a long story. I've been working in the beauty industry for over 15 years. And for anybody that knows me, I'm obsessed with skin health, the way the skin looks, the way the skin feels. The key thing to remember, the skin is a reflection of what's going on the inside and the environment we surround ourselves in. That's why it's so important to look out for those minerals and vitamins that will help our hair, skin and nails along the way.
I'm so glad you said that, because I'm all about trying to get people back in the kitchen. So I'm advising people to get their vitamins and minerals from real food sources.
So the vitamins and minerals I'd be looking out for would be biotin. Biotin's great for the production of keratin, which is going to strengthen your hair and your nails. Zinc, yes please. I love me some zinc. What I love about zinc, it's great for skin healing and for someone that may have problematic skin. My absolute fave has to be vitamin C. Vitamin C is there for the production of collagen. As we age, our collagen production starts to slow down, so we want that vitamin C to give that skin our boost.
Let's blitz up my dip so that we can get the beauty benefits into us quicker.
Let's do it. It looks amazing.
Along with the vitamin C in the red capsicum, they're actually packed with antioxidants as well, which I know play a role with healthy hair, skin and nails.
Yeah, we need all the antioxidants, Luke. Give me
Get 'em into
the
us.
antioxidants.
Now, for those that might be living a really busy lifestyle or don't even know where to begin when it comes to sourcing vitamins and minerals that are good for their hair, skin and nails, what's your advice?
Look, I couldn't agree more. We're all living busy lives and it's hard to get your nutrients on a daily basis. But thankfully, we've got these beauty-loving elements available in a hair, skin and nail supplement.
Sign me up for the lot. Now, I've got to say, how good does this look? It's almost too beautiful to eat.
Almost.
Hey? The A to Z of Vitamins is brought to you by Go Healthy. For superior supplement for healthy energy and vitality, try New Zealand's #1 premium supplement. Now available in Australia.
Earlier in the show, Darcy spoke with one of the AFL's brightest stars, Adam Treloar. The gun midfielder has made headlines in recent times thanks to moving from Collingwood to the Bulldogs. He first started speaking publicly about his mental health battles back in 2018 when he was really struggling with his own self-worth. Darcy spoke to him about getting through those challenges and how he's feeling today about his future with the Bulldogs.
Had to be slightly more committed to affirmative action. Treloar, that's affirmative action. Oh, the little fella who tossed the coin's going to like that.
So we had to bring... the dogs were getting stressed outside, mate, so we needed to... who's this one?
Sonny.
Sonny was very, very keen, mate. I think she could sense how upset you were and wanted to be in the house. But I want to come back to your openness about dealing with anxiety. The 2018 season... I remember you did quite an extraordinary injury. You tore both your hamstrings, and the way you came back and played in a final series was remarkable in itself and a credit to you. But I remember reading you saying that it was almost a relief to get injured because the anxiety was so overwhelming. Can you talk us through what you experienced?
It was leading into the season. I had all these feelings and emotions inside of me, but even then there was not real much talk about mental health and the stigma behind it about how we're big macho men and we should, you know, keep our feelings inside of us. We play footy, we get paid well, you know, boo-hoo. I was really struggling, and I think that was what was stopping me from actually talking about my own feelings to someone. I wasn't talking to anyone about it.
Yeah.
And then, I just remember round 3 that year against Carlton, we won, really good game. You know, I played well, everyone played well. And I just remember being in Spa, I was crying after the game in the Spa. There was teammates in there, and I don't remember who they were. I think Joshy Thomas might have been one of them, and maybe a couple other boys. And I was ducking my head under the Spa and I was crying. I was bawling my eyes out.
But at the same time, you were still playing at an incredibly high level.
Yeah.
Like, your form was unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, I actually won an Anzac medal not long
Right
before
through that time.
and yeah.
How did you have the ability to play that well in those 2 hours and be struggling so much at the time?
Honestly, Darcy, I don't know. I think because I'm a competitive person, so you're never going to be able to take that away from me. So whether I'm at my lowest of lows or my highest of highs, that competitiveness stays the exact same. So I think naturally getting out there, that took over. But also one thing that I battle with day to day, and I did back then, is my own self-worth and my own ability and belief in myself, not as a footy player, as just a human being.
So every day you wake up and
I do. It's a challenge. It's a battle. You know, some days it's harder than other days, but I think that's why I'm so driven and motivated to help other people, because it gets me out of my own mindset and gets me out of my own head.
Where does it come from?
I just think my childhood, I think my upbringing, I think because, you know, being born into not much, kind of nothing, it's just always been instilled in me, and it's almost like, you know, that question, why were you even born? Like, what's your purpose? Like, why are you here? Like, I do have those thoughts and struggles every day, but it's not like I'm walking around miserable all day. Like, with the ways that I can manage it, I'm happy. I walk around, I'm happy. I'm me, I'm myself.
But you worked through that challenging situation, as you said, that sense of being traded when you loved playing for Collingwood. And I've got the Bulldogs hat on, mate. We couldn't have been more excited that Adam Treloar's going to turn up in the red, white and blue. And as you said, you've already formed these great friendships and lifelong friends. Are you feeling good about it?
Yeah, I am. It did take me a good while to get used to the fact that I wasn't playing for Collingwood. You know, once we started getting into training and match sim and then learning the game style and whatnot, this is footy talk. That's when I really, you know, this is where I'm at. This is who I'm playing for, and no matter how long it takes me, I'm all in. And I've never had a grudge about anything that's happened. I've never had a grudge about anything that's happened. I've never had a grudge towards Collingwood.
Yep.
I've never, you'll never hear me say anything bad about that footy club because I love the place so much. Yep. Do I agree with how I was treated? No, I don't agree with that. But I'm not holding on to it. It doesn't weigh me down. This is the least of my worries. It doesn't need to weigh me down when I have my own struggles.
Georgie, hello. Hey.
Steady.
You're emotional about it before, because it was an emotional time in your life, and you shared that with us. But you know, credit to you. You just that's happened. Is there any bridges that need to be mended for you? It's just.
I'm emotional because the reason why it gets me emotional is because. Like initially, not now, initially, is because I wasn't playing there. It wasn't because of I was getting told I was, you know, uncoachable and players didn't want me. It wasn't because of that. It was because I wasn't playing there anymore, and it was upsetting me because I wanted to play for Collingwood. It's where I wanted to play. I wanted to play for the fans. I wanted to play with some great mates that I'd met there and something that I felt like we'd really built. That was the side of things that gets me emotional. But in terms of grudges and whatnot, there's no... I'll never hold a grudge against Collingwood. I never will. I love the place. Like I said to you before, they will always have a place in my heart because I spent 5 wonderful years there that I'm so grateful for because I met some wonderful people, and the supporter base there and the fan base, the amount of support that I've gotten is what I'll miss. I'm grateful for all of that.
Thanks for your time, mate. It's been great to catch up.
Thanks, Darcy. I really appreciate it, mate.
Yeah, Adam's had a fantastic start to this season with the Bulldogs. He's just the nicest young man you'd ever meet in your life. We wish Adam and his wife, Kim, and their 1-year-old daughter, Georgie, all the best and look forward to seeing him do great things on and off the field.
Stick around because after the break, I meet supermodel and super mum Miranda Kerr for a lesson in bringing up kids naturally. That's next on the House of Wellness. Miranda Kerr and Larinska Merrington have a lot in common. Both country girls, they're now high-profile working women intent on giving their kids a balanced and healthy start to life. Miranda, your life is so busy as a working parent. How do you fit in quality time playing with and raising 3 boys, running your businesses, and of course, trying to fit in quality time with your husband as well?
It's definitely a balancing act and quite challenging trying to fit it all in, as I'm sure most parents feel. But, you know, both of my parents worked throughout my childhood, and so it really instilled in me that importance of having a good work ethic. And I really hope that my children understand and appreciate that work is, you know, a part of life and something that I think takes a lot of planning, but a lot of flexibility within those plans is important.
We all know that nutrition is very important for growing and developing children. How do you teach your kids to make healthy choices in and around things like birthday parties and other kids' lunch boxes and snack times?
Well, I really feel that buying organic foods for my family is important, and I love including BioStein SN2 BioPlus premium organic toddler milk drink in Hart's morning smoothie so that he's getting that additional nutrition support. And I add, you know, that in with his banana, blueberry, fresh orange juice smoothie, because I feel as parents it's so important to give our children the guidance and support they need, and the nutrition that they need. And when it comes to things that I can't control, whether, you know, they're eating cake at a birthday party, you know, obviously I want them to be able to have fun, but at home I really try to encourage that healthy eating, and I really do my part to help nurture them with the foods that are healthy.
I'm always open to suggestion because it's so tricky. Like, and I think, you know, some days I'll get up in the morning, I'm like, I've so got it together. You know, I've done the lunch boxes the night before. The house is clean. I've got Penelope's favourite breakfast. And then in that split second, it can just all fall to mush. And I think the number one thing that we do, that I've had to learn to do, is just lower those, you know, lower the expectations. We do little things during the day. So for example, the last couple of weeks, they've just been mental. So I'll put like a little note in Penelope's lunchbox if I'm not there in the morning. And it might be like, you know, hope you have the best day at school. But, you know, mummy's going to pick you up. So she knows that even though our life is a bit busy at the moment, like mum's going to be there at the end of the day to pick you up.
Why is an organic lifestyle important for you and your family?
The big thing for us is fueling your body in the right way. For example, you know, tomatoes, that was one of the ones where we researched, and, you know, you get so much more vitamin C out of a tomato. So we just started slowly incorporating, you know, blueberries, and just fueling our body with that produce and getting so much more benefits out of it. We just, we decided that that was the right fit for our family.
I think that it's important to have a healthy relationship with food from a young age, because you really can create some very healthy habits from a young age. And it's also fun to make it an enjoyable experience and help them get involved with you in the cooking process.
The number one thing that we've loved having it in our household, it just takes the pressure off that part of motherhood. You know, you're giving your child an organic premium product, and you're not trying to, you know, shove everything else down their throat. It just takes the edge off, and it's easy. It takes you literally 30 seconds to do in the morning. We go on this journey and we have, you know, these beautiful children, and, you know, you watch them go on these adventures and you watch them grow, and you want to be putting in the best possible ingredients into their body so that they can go on these adventures, they can go out exploring, they can, you know, do all those fun, exciting things. So, you know, it's just fueling their body the right way, to me, is the number one thing in our world.
Well, it doesn't matter who you are, Darcy. We all want the best for our kids, that they thrive and just simply be happy. But it's also as much about teaching them how to cope through the tough times, because no one escapes some kind of adversity in their lives, of course.
Yeah, very true, Jo. So if you could go back, let me ask this, and talk to yourself as a teen or even a pre-teen, what would be the bits of advice that you'd give yourself, Jo?
I would tell myself that trying to be what everybody else wants you to be will make you very unhappy. So just be yourself.
That is a sound bit of advice, yes.
And I would say don't not exercise. Exercise is good for you. But I spent a long time not exercising. I was quite frightened of it for a while.
In your teens?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yes. I'm not like you, sporty and all that. What would you tell your teen?
Well, I'd tell myself that be grateful. You're pretty lucky.
Oh, nice.
Everything's going to work out pretty well. So
that's great advice.
That's it for today, Jo. On that note, you're back on radio every Sunday with GQ, which I always look forward to hearing. Make sure you tune in to the radio show with Jo and check out our website, houseofwellness.com.au, for more great tips and advice. And thanks, as always, to our very good friends at Chemist Warehouse. We'll see you next time.